900 million devices. That's how many gadgets are now powered by an operating system that, honestly, didn't even exist 5 years ago. While most of the world was betting on Huawei's downfall after losing Google, something remarkable happened instead. The Chinese tech giant didn't just survive being cut off from Android and Google services, they actually created an entirely new digital universe. And now, this universe is starting to reshape the global technology landscape. Imagine this for a second. You wake up tomorrow and every Google service disappears from your phone. No Gmail, no YouTube, no Google Maps, no Play Store. For most people, that would feel like a digital disaster. But for nearly 1 billion users worldwide, that's exactly the reality they've embraced. And, well, they're not turning back. The story begins in May 2019, when the Trump administration dropped what many described as a nuclear strike on Huawei. Overnight, the company lost access to Google's Android operating system and all associated services. Tech analysts around the world rushed to write Huawei's obituary. They'll be gone within 2 years, claimed one prominent Silicon Valley investor. No company can survive without Google's ecosystem, said another. They were all wrong. What happened next defied every expectation. Instead of collapsing, Huawei did something few thought possible. They built their own operating system from the ground up. Not a cheap Android clone, but a fully new platform designed to run smoothly across phones, tablets, smartwatches, TVs, and even cars. They called it Harmony OS, and by early 2025, it had become the fastest-growing operating system in tech history. The numbers tell the story. In 2024 alone, Huawei's revenue surged past 860 billion yuan, roughly $118 billion, marking a 22% increase year over year. This wasn't just a recovery. It was the company's fastest growth rate in nearly 10 years. In China's smartphone market, Huawei jumped from 4th place to 2nd, with shipments soaring 37%, while Apple's sales dropped 17% during the same period. But here's where things get really interesting. The latest release, Harmony OS 6, isn't just keeping pace with Android. It's introducing features Google is now racing to catch up with. The system includes advanced AI agents that can automate complex tasks without users needing any programming skills. Imagine telling your phone to plan your entire vacation, and it handles flights, hotels, and restaurant bookings while learning your preferences along the way. We weren't trying to copy anyone, explains Dr. Chen Wei, a senior architect involved in Harmony OS development. We asked a simple question. If we could redesign mobile computing from scratch, knowing everything we know today, what would it look like? The answer, he says, wasn't Android. The Mate 60 Pro smartphone became the symbol of that shift. When it launched in 2023, Western experts were stunned. Despite sanctions blocking access to advanced chip-making tools, Huawei had somehow produced a phone with near 5G performance using its homegrown Kirin 9100 processor. Demand exploded so fast that stores struggled to keep it in stock. Young Chinese professionals began calling it the Patriot phone, a device that showed China could innovate without Western technology. That momentum only grew with the Mate 70 series. These weren't just phones. They were proof of what happens when a company is forced to rethink everything. The devices featured 100-watt fast charging that could revive a dead battery in minutes, foldable displays that felt almost unreal, and AI capabilities that made Siri seem outdated. Even more surprising, they often cost less than comparable Google Pixel or Samsung models. And the ecosystem didn't stop at smartphones. In May 2025, Huawei dropped another surprise laptops running Harmony OS. The MateBook Fold featured an 18-inch OLED display that folded like a book, eliminating the need for a physical keyboard. The MateBook Pro kept a traditional design but ran entirely on Huawei's software, marking a direct challenge to Windows and macOS. What we're seeing is unprecedented in tech history, says technology strategist Maria Rodriguez from Barcelona. A company fully cut off from the Western tech stack, not only surviving, but building something millions of people genuinely prefer. It's forcing us to rethink everything we believed about technology monopolies. The app ecosystem tells another powerful story. When Google Play became unavailable, critics predicted users would abandon Huawei phones en masse. Instead, Huawei's AppGallery now serves 580 million monthly active users. Major developers are, rushing to optimize their apps for Harmony OS, with over 50 AI-powered applications from partners like Weibo and Ximalaya already built into the system. But perhaps the most important shift is happening in cloud computing and AI. Huawei unveiled its Pangu 5.5 AI models, designed specifically for industrial use cases in medicine, finance, and manufacturing. Its Cloud Matrix 384 infrastructure runs on 384 Ascend neural processing units working together, an architecture that rivals offerings from Google and Amazon. The impact goes far beyond consumer devices. Across Asia, businesses are increasingly choosing Huawei's cloud services over Western alternatives, citing better local support, competitive pricing, and, most importantly, data that stays within national borders. For companies worried about U.S. surveillance or sudden sanctions, Huawei offers something Google can't: insulation from American political decisions. The sanctions didn't just force Huawei to find replacements. They pushed the company to rethink how technology should function at its core. Take its latest breakthrough, a new approach to device connectivity that makes Apple's ecosystem look closed by comparison. With Harmony OS, your phone can instantly become your laptop's touchpad. Your tablet turns into a second screen. Your smartwatch controls your TV, all without setup or configuration. This level of integration caught Silicon Valley off guard. We spent years convincing ourselves our walled gardens were features, not limitations, admits a former Google executive speaking anonymously. Huawei proved that when you design an ecosystem from scratch in 2025, you don't need walls at all. The automotive industry offers the clearest example of this disruption. While Tesla dominated headlines, Huawei quietly became the brain behind China's electric vehicle boom. Its intelligent automotive platform now powers cars from multiple manufacturers, handling everything from autonomous driving to in-car entertainment. The Aido M9, built with Huawei technology, sold 160,000 units in its first year, outselling many established luxury brands. What's especially striking is what's under the hood. Huawei's autonomous driving system combines traditional sensors with advanced AI processing, achieving Level 4 autonomy in certain scenarios. During a recent test in Shenzhen, a vehicle equipped with Huawei's system navigated rush-hour traffic for 45 minutes without human input, managing aggressive lane changes and unexpected pedestrians with ease. The West underestimated Chinese innovation because it assumed we needed their technology to succeed, says Li Xiaoming, an automotive industry analyst in Beijing. What they missed was that necessity would become the mother of reinvention. Huawei didn't just replace Western components. They rethought how those components should work together. The financial consequences are now rippling through global markets. Investment firms are scrambling to understand what Huawei's return means for their portfolios. Western chip makers that once celebrated Huawei's exclusion now watch nervously as Chinese alternatives gain ground. Companies like TSMC and ASML, once considered untouchable, face a future where their largest potential market may no longer need them. And this shift is only beginning to reshape the developer ecosystem as well. Sarah Thompson, an app developer based in Singapore, reflects a growing shift in the industry. "I used to build for iOS first, then Android," she explains. "Now, Harmony OS is part of my launch plan from day one. The developer tools are better than I expected, and the user base is simply too large to overlook. On top of that, Huawei's revenue-sharing terms are more attractive than what Apple or Google offer." The ecosystem's push into emerging markets tells an equally powerful story. In regions where high-end smartphones are still out of reach for many consumers, Huawei's aggressive pricing and strong local partnerships are reshaping the market. In countries like Indonesia, the Philippines, and Thailand, Harmony OS devices are outselling Android phones across several price tiers. And these aren't stripped-down budget models. They're fully featured smartphones that would have cost 3 times as much just 2 years ago. Educational institutions across Asia are also paying attention. Universities in Malaysia and Vietnam have begun adding Harmony OS development to their computer science programs. Our students need to be ready for a multipolar technology landscape, explains Dr. Ahmad Rahman, Dean of Technology at a major Malaysian university. Teaching only iOS and Android would be like teaching only English in a multilingual world. Security adds yet another dimension to this shift. While Western governments warned about Chinese surveillance, many users and businesses grew increasingly uncomfortable with the scale of data collection by American tech giants. Huawei leaned into this concern, rolling out privacy tools that give users detailed control over their data. Its privacy dashboard clearly shows which apps access what information and when, with one-tap options to revoke permissions instantly. Perhaps most interesting of all, Huawei's success is motivating other Chinese tech companies to reduce their reliance on American technology. Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo are all investing in their own operating systems and chip designs. What began as one company's survival response is quickly turning into an industry-wide push toward technological independence. The scale of investment behind this shift is staggering. Huawei now spends more than 23% of its revenue on research and development, over $27 billion every year. That's more than many nations allocate to their entire military budgets. The company employs over 114,000 R&D specialists, with research hubs stretching from Shanghai to Moscow to Cairo. We're watching the emergence of a parallel technology universe, says Dr. James Lauiu, a technology historian at Stanford. For the first time since the dawn of the Internet era, there's real competition to the Silicon Valley model. This isn't just about new apps or platforms. It's about fundamentally different ideas of how technology should serve people.